In this video, we'll look at an example on chapter 3, that is how we can find a temperature distribution in a fin. So let's dive into it. So let's say we have a fin that is embedded in an insulation. So we have a fin that's embedded in an insulation. So this block here is insulated. So there is no heat being transferred from this block to the fin, and uh, half of the fin is extended outside and is exposed to air at T temperature T air and heat transfer coefficient H. The length of the fin that is inside the insulation is L, whereas the length of the fin that's outside the insulation and extends from the surface is also L. And let's say this location here is equal to x is equal to 0. So your positive x direction moves from the interface or the base of the surface towards the right, and this direction here will be your negative x direction. And the question says that heat is generated in half of the rod means fin, that is embedded inside the insulation. So your heat is just being generated from the part that is inside the insulation. So only the part inside the insulation has Q generation, whereas Q gen or Q triple prime outside the insulation is 0, and Q triple prime inside the insulation is given to be 10 to the power 6 watt per meter cube. Okay, the thermal conductivity is given to be 30. The length of the fin is 0.1 meters. Air is at 20 degrees Celsius, and the heat transfer coefficient is 100 watt per meter square. And the diameter of the fin is 5 millimeters, that's 0.005 meters. Okay, we need to find what is the base temperature at x is equal to 0. So what is the temperature at x is equal to 0? That's this location right here. And what is the temperature distribution for the fin that is inside the insulation? This has to be equal to, so what is the temperature distribution of the fin for x less than equal to L and greater than equal to 0? So this is the part that is outside the insulation, and we need to find the temperature distribution inside inside the insulation as well. Okay, so let's begin with our assumptions. Our assumptions are that the system is at steady state, all the thermal properties are constant, and the heat generation wherever it exists is uniform heat generation. You may have problems where your heat generation can be a function of say your dimensions x, y, or something like that. So you need to be careful about that as well. So in this case, we are not given anything and heat generation is just a constant value. So we've assumed that heat generation is uniform. Okay. So to begin with this, we need to consider a control volume to find the base temperature. Uh, let's say our control volume is the portion of the fin that is inside the insulation or the rod, if, what the problem says. So this right here is our control volume. Okay, the control volume has a volumetric heat generation, and there's no heat coming in because it's insulated from all sides, but there is Q conduction going outside this rod, and this Q conduction is nothing but your fin rate at x is equal to 0. So the control volume that we've taken is the portion of the rod that is inside the insulation. Let's write down the energy balance for this control volume. So our energy balance will be uh, energy stored, which will be 0 because it's steady state, There's no Q coming in, so this will be 0 as well. We have Q going out through conduction, and we have a heat generation term that because there's a volumetric heat generation given. Okay, so our energy balance equation will turn out to be Q gen equals to Q out, and Q out is nothing but the fin rate. Okay, so what is our Q gen? Okay, so remember that these quantities here are heat rates, and our Q gen has the dimensions watt per meter cube, so it's a volumetric heat generation term, and we need to convert that into the heat rate. So to that we'll take our volumetric heat generation and multiply that by the area of the fin or the rod in which heat is being generated. So this volume here is volume, sorry, not the area, I think I said area. So volume of the rod in which heat is being generated exists. Q exists. Okay, so our Q fin will be equal to the will be equal to Q gen. So this is nothing but Q gen, and our Q gen is the uh, Q triple prime times the volume. Now volume of the rod or the cylinder is pi by 4 d square into length L. So our volume will be pi by 4 times the diameter is 0.05 meter square times the length of the rod which is inside the insulation and which has heat generation is 0.01. So keep this in mind that the volume that you consider is always the volume in which heat generation exists. So although an entire rod has the length 2L, we've just assumed the volume of the rod, volume of half of the rod here. Okay, so after doing that, the fin rate that we get is 1.96 watts. Okay, so to use the equations that are given in the table in chapter 3, we first need to see if we can use the equation that equation for the infinitely long fin, which is also called as long fin. Okay, to do that, the empirical relation to check if your fin is a long fin is m times L. M is your fin parameter, and m is your fin parameter, and the dimensions of m are a meter inverse, and the dimensions of L are meter. So obviously the m times L will be a non-dimensional number, and this number has to be greater than or equal to 2.65. So let's see if our m times L is greater than 2.65. So our m, the fin parameter, has the formula under root h times p. So h is the heat transfer coefficient, p is the parameter of cylinder, which is nothing but pi into t, k is the thermal conductivity of the rod, that's the fin, and AC is the cross-sectional area through which conduction is taking place. So in this case, it will be the cross-sectional area of the cylinder. So make sure that you choose the correct area here. Okay, we put in the values. Our h is 100, pi times t, which is our perimeter, which is 0.05005, divided by our thermal conductivity, which is 30, multiplied by our area, which is pi by 4 into d square. Okay, and our diameter is 0.005. So this gives us the fin rate, the fin parameter as 51.64 meter inverse. Now let's see what our m times L is. So our m is 51.64, our length is 0.1 meters. So our so the product will be 5.164, which is definitely greater than 2.6. Therefore, we can approximate this fin to be a long fin. Okay. So now that we've seen that, or now that we've proven that our fin can be approximated as a long fin, let's see how to find the temperature distribution. Okay, so to do that, we'll consider case T in table 3.4, which is for a infinitely long fin, and our fin rate in that case is given as QF equals to uppercase M. This is not the fin parameter. Equal, and the formula for uppercase M is under root of HP, that's the heat transfer rate, times perimeter times the thermal conductivity into cross-sectional area, times theta B. And theta B is nothing but the temperature axis, or the temperature difference between base temperature and temperature at infinity, which in our case is T air. So T air is 20 degrees Celsius, and this theta B is outside the under root. So please don't get confused. So let's see what is the value of base temperature that we get. So our fin rate was 1.96. We plug in the values for H and P and K and A and multiply that by theta B. So we don't know the base temperature TB, but we know what T infinity is. It's equal to T air. So this is the relation that we get. So our TB minus T infinity will be equal to 64.4. I've taken this value which is inside this red bracket and divided, and I took it on the left hand side. So basically I divided the entire equation by the term in the bracket, and that's how I got the 64.43. So substitute the value of T infinity, which is nothing but T air. So our TB minus T20 will be equal to 64.43, which gives us TB to be 84.43 degrees Celsius, because our T air was in degrees Celsius, and if you convert it to Kelvin, it will be approximately 257.43. So your conversion from degrees Celsius to Kelvin is 273, approximately 273. So you need to add 273 to your temperature in Celsius. Okay, so let's move on to finding the temperature distribution in the two portions of the rod. That's for the portion that is inside the insulation and the portion that extends out of the surface and is exposed to air. So for X, small between 0 and L, which is the portion outside the insulation, we'll use the formula from table 3.4, and the formula given is theta divided by theta B equals to e to the power minus mx, where m is your fin parameter and x is your location x, and e is the exponent. So we can write theta as T of x, temperature at any location x, minus T infinity divided by theta b, which is Tb minus T infinity, equals to e to the power minus m, and I've written down the formula of m here, times x. We've already calculated what m is, so we had got m as 51.64 meter inverse. Let's substitute that and see what we get. So uh, on substituting the value of m and taking the denominator on the right hand side, that's why we got a tb minus t infinity here, and I took the t infinity and took it on the right hand side, so that's why we have a plus t infinity on the right hand side. So our t of x will be tb minus t infinity times the exponent of minus mx plus t infinity. This will give us the equation or temperature distribution for x between 0 and L. So this is just for the portion of fin that is outside the insulation. Okay, and this is the temperature distribution that we have. Now keep in mind that our temperature distribution is not linear, and it depends, it has an exponent part to it. So we have a e to the power minus mx term here, so we have e to the power minus 51.64 times x. Now what does this mean is that, let's say your x was a large value. If your x is a large value, your e to the power minus mx will be a very small value, which means that your temperature at that very large location x will be almost equal to 20 degrees, because this term here on the left will be a very small term, and therefore your temperature at that location, that is for large values of x, will be almost equal to 20, which is almost equal to the air temperature or the surrounding temperature, which makes sense because if you have a very long fin and if you are looking at temperature near the tip of the fin, your temperature at the tip will be almost equal to the temperature of the surrounding air. So our logic checks out here. Now let's move on to finding the temperature distribution for the portion of the fin or the rod that is inside the insulation. So for doing that, we don't have any equation in table 3.4 that we can use directly here. So we'll start from our heat diffusion equation. So our heat diffusion equation is rho Cp times the variation of temperature with time equals to del dot K times del T plus the heat generation term. Now because it's at steady state, our term on the left will go to 0, and our equation will be minus Q triple prime, that's the heat generation rate, that's the volumetric heat generation, equals to your del K times del square T, which can be written as d of dx times K into dt by dx. And why? Because our heat is just flowing in one dimension, that's the x direction. That's why our partial derivatives can be written as ordinary differential ordinary derivatives. So that's why we have minus q triple prime equals to d of dx times k into dt by dx. So let's integrate this once. On integrating this once, we get uh, minus q triple prime x by k plus c1k equals to dt by dx. Now how do we get this? Let me just, I've skipped a step here, so let me just explain how I got this and what did I integrate this with respect to. So let's say our term in the bracket here is some variable, say t prime. Okay, so our equation will be minus q triple prime equals to d of dx into t prime, which is a dummy variable. It's not an actual variable, it's just a random variable that I considered. You can assume it as a, b, c, d, or whatever you want. Okay, Now my next step here will be, I'll write this as q triple prime times dx equals to d of t prime, and I will integrate my q triple prime with respect to x and my 1, so there's a 1 here, right, with respect to dt prime. Now because our q triple prime is constant, we'll just get an x here, we'll just get an x here, and we have a negative sign, and on the right hand side we'll get t prime. So let me write that down again. So this equation will be minus q triple prime into x plus a constant of integration c1 plus uh, sorry, not plus, equals to t prime, and t prime is nothing but your k times dt by dx. Okay, so this is how you come to this equation right here. Okay, and I divide the entire equation by k, so you get your k's in denominators. Okay, so make sure that you use this temperature when in some scenarios this temperature is this equation is extremely useful whenever you're given a boundary condition which says that there is a heat flux or there's a adiabatic boundary condition. You can directly say that your dt by dx is equal to q double prime, or if it's adiabatic, your dt by dx is equal to 0. So you can directly use this equation right here and say, okay, if your dt by dx is equal to 0, your q triple prime times x by k plus c1 by k equals to 0. But now in this case we need to find what the temperature distribution is. So we want t's of x. So we need to integrate this equation once more. And on integrating this equation once more, we get t's of x equals to minus q triple prime. Integration of x with respect to dx is x square by 2 plus integration of a constant is just x, and we'll have another constant of integration, that is c2. Now because we have two constants, we need two boundary conditions, and our boundary conditions in this case will be at x is equal to 0, our T of 0 is equal to the base temperature Tb, which we know, we calculated that in our first part, and at x is equal to minus L, our heat flux or our dt by dx is equal to 0, and that's because we have adiabatic boundary condition inside the insulation. So let's apply these boundary conditions. We get at x is equal to 0, if we substitute x is equal to 0 in this equation, our first term will be 0, second term will be 0, and we'll be just left with C2. So our C2 will be nothing but TB, and at x is equal to minus L, our equation will be and so at x is equal to minus L, we need to use equation 2 right here. So because we need to substitute, we need to find the value of dt by dx at x is equal to minus L, I'll directly use equation 2 and substitute x is equal to minus L. So in that scenario, I'll get C1 equals to minus q triple prime times L. Okay, so now we've got the now we found out the values of both the constants in known values. So we know what TB is, we know what Q triple prime is, and we know what L is. So the temperature distribution in this case, excuse me for the sound. So the temperature distribution in this case will be T of x equals to q triple prime x square by 2k minus q triple prime into L, which is a known quantity, times x divided by k plus tb. So this particular equation here is quadratic equation. It's not an exponential equation. And let's see if our bound temperatures at the boundaries cross, like, check out. So at x is equal to 0, we our first two terms will go to 0 and we'll be left with Tb, which is our base temperature. So which makes sense, the temperature at x is equal to 0 should be the base temperature Tb.